Gisbergen completes his first trip to Bristol Motor Speedway and finishes in 18th position. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel and welcome back to the video. As I just said a second ago, Gisbergen has completed his first ever NASCAR race at Bristol Motor Speedway at the racetrack and finishes in 18th position. He qualified around 30th to 31st early in the race, but got to move up a couple rows. I think he actually started around 34th, moved up a couple rows because a couple guys in front of him, including Josh Williams, had to go to the rear of the field. Now, early in the race, Shane really struggled. He fell back a little bit early from 30th, fell back as far as about 32nd or 33rd position, but started moving up a little early. However, by about lap 40 to 45, unfortunately for Shane, he unfortunately ended up getting passed by Justin Allgaier and ended up going a lap down. And then he would stay inside the top 30 as Justin continued to basically lap more cars. But then his chance to get back in came in a little early as Justin would get in the outside wall and basically had some contact with Austin Green after Austin Green had a flat tire. Green got in the outside wall and Parker Russell had nowhere to go and Justin Allgaier got a ton of damage. Unfortunately though for Shane, he did not get back on the lead lap. So he'd basically be around 29th to 30th position, but unfortunately he still would be a lap down. But then there were a couple cautions at this point in the middle portion of the race. You have Parker Kligerman spin. That Parker Kligerman spin, I believe, was the one that would get Shane back on the lead lap as he would be in 27th position. And then I'm thinking at this point, it's time to go to work for Shane. He needs to think about if he's going to be able to get in or if he's not going to be able to have a chance at getting a really strong and a really good finish. And then we get to the final 100 laps of this race for Shane. Shane started moving up. He actually started moving up and got inside the top 25 and started moving into that 22nd to 23rd position around that area and started making up a ton of ground and started making some positions to move closer to the front. And then as the run progressed at the end, as we had a really long green flag run, he progressed up from about 23rd, got up to 22nd. Then he moved up to about 20th, lost a couple positions on the final race start, but got up inside the top 20 once again. And then he got ahead of a couple drivers like Joe Graf Jr. in a Joe Gibbs racing car. And then he got to a really strong and fantastic battle for the final 30-40 laps between Brennan Poole and himself. And he tried everything he could to get around Brennan Poole at the end of the day. But unfortunately didn't have anything for him as sadly Cole Custer got there and unfortunately was not able to get by Brennan Poole. He got there at the end. But unfortunately, the reason he couldn't get by Brennan Poole is because Cole Custer got in the back of him, moved up the racetrack. Shane showed a little bit of frustration with Cole Custer there, moving down the racetrack a little bit. But Cole Custer got around both of them. And then at the end, he tried to get back by Brennan Poole at the end of the race. And it would not be enough for Shane to get back around him. And coming off the corner, Cole Custer would pick up his second victory of the 2024 season. And Shane Gisbergen would come off the final corner and finish a respectful 18th position. Well, he did not complete all the laps and finish on the lead lap. 18th at Bristol Motor Speedway in your first turn there. That's honestly a solid run, all things considered. He almost completed all the laps, really didn't get involved in any incidents, really didn't get involved in any sort of controversy. It was a solid night for Shane. And again, that's the big thing for him. His goal should be as going into next year, because remember, he's going full-time in the Cup Series, driving the 88 car for Trackhouse Racing, as Trackhouse Racing will be expanding to a 3-car operation next year. It will be teammates with Daniel Suarez and Ross Chastain. The ultimate goal is to gain as much experience as possible. And the best way you can gain experience is completing as many laps as possible. And he's had a lot of top 20 runs. This is a continuation of finishing inside the top 20 because so far this year he's only had 5 or 6 of like the 26 or 27 Xfinity races where he's finished outside the top 20. He's only had 6 finishes outside the top 20 and his consistency has been pretty good. I knew it was going to be a tough turmoil because it was very, very difficult to pass in this race. A lot of the guys up front could not pass because the top line was extremely dominant. Had the bottom line come in and the bottom line was so equal, I do think that Shane would have had an outside chance and an outside opportunity to make some runs and make a good run to maybe move inside the top 15. And I thought maybe tonight he was going to get a top 15 because he's gotten better on these types of tracks. But 18th is not a bad night, all things considered. And he beat a couple guys. He beat Justin Allgaier, who was one of the guys coming into this race that could have won. He beat Matt Benedetto, a former full-time Cup Series driver who had electrical issues. He beat Joe Graf Jr. in a Joe Gibbs racing car and nearly beat Brennan Poole in an Alpha Prime car. And to be fair, the Kaulig cars tonight were just not that good. They didn't have the pace and speed. Josh Williams struggled all night long, ran 21st to 22nd at the end. And AJ Allmendinger, who was the strongest Kaulig car in this race tonight, was 10th or 11th. We know that they just announced Ty Norris coming into the Colleague Racing Group for 2025, which is really exciting. And I think that that will really help their program because their Xfinity program has not been that great. Yes, I know their road course program has been good. But get this, if they've had 7 wins in the last few years, right, they've only had 1 non-road course win, and that was at Nashville in 2023. They've got to work on their short track program a little bit. I really thought SVG could have done a lot better tonight, but honestly, he did what he could and honestly did the best he could. It wasn't a fantastic performance by any stretch of imagination, but getting a top 20 still wasn't the best rookie either tonight. Jesse Love, of course, got a top 5 tonight. He did a very solid job. It was also cool to see Dale Jr. get back there. They were talking to each other after the race because obviously he's using the 88, which Dale Jr. ran that in the Cup Series for many years and also ran the 88 car tonight. He did, of course, beat Haley Deegan, but, of course, she wasn't behind the wheel tonight. And he did have a chance to at least make a pass on Brennan Poole to finish 17th. But solid night, all things considered. Not a great night by any stretch of imagination, but like I said, to finish inside the top 20 of the race, not a bad night, all things considered. And the more experience he can get, the better. He's going to have some Cup races coming up. We're going to Kansas next week, which I think SVG could honestly have a top 15, top 10 run. I remember Charlotte where he was contending for a top 10 a lot of that race. I could see him having a strong run there. His mile-and-a-half prowess has gotten a lot better, and he's got some Cup starts coming up very soon as well. Remember Talladega in 2 weeks. He's going to be doing double duty while running the Xfinity Series race and the Cup race as well. I think he's running the Cup race at Homestead too, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's got Vegas on his schedule in a few weeks. And then, of course, he's going to be running some other races before the end of the year. But 18th place, not a bad night, all things considered. Yes, it could have definitely been better. There's no doubt about it for sure. But he does come home with a top 20 finish. Not a bad night, not a great night, but it wasn't a bad night overall for Shane Van Gisbergen, all things considered, from tonight's race at Bristol Motor Speedway. So, that is going to be on the Shane Van Gisbergen episode from Bristol Motor Speedway. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support on Patreon as well. Let's go to below that and comment your thoughts below on today's episode. How do you think Shane Van Gisbergen performed today at Bristol Motor Speedway? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Tomorrow on the channel, or when you're seeing this, you will see the NASCAR Cup Series race view from Bristol Motor Speedway for the Bristol night race, for the Bassler Shops night race. You're also going to see the starting lineup early in the morning. And then on Sunday, you're going to see the 2025 NASCAR Xfinity Cup Series silly season predictions. And then on Monday, you're going to see a doubleheader on the channel because we're going to have 2 news videos dropping. And then on Tuesday, most likely, will be Xfinity Series playoff predictions. Got a lot of great content dropping over the course of the next couple of days that I cannot wait for you guys to check out. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode. We'll be talking about drivers like Bubba Wallace, Haley Deegan, Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, you name it, in the future. So we'll see you guys there for some awesome, fantastic, and great content on this channel coming up. Take care, everybody.